Hey friends, welcome back to Garden Girl Studio. I'm filling in for Garden Dad this week. He's off on a little vacation, and I thought it was the perfect excuse to take you along on one of my favorite spring activities, picking out flowers for my porch planters. Welcome to Garden Girl Studio. We're giving Garden Dad a bit of a break this week. I know he normally shares with you some gardening tips, but today I'm filling in. It has been so rainy here in upstate New York. I have not planted my flower pots on my front porch yet. Normally, Memorial Day weekend is kind of like the day that everyone goes out around here and we all get our flowers and we plant. We are past Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend was a little bit early this year, so there's still plenty of time. We can still plant, but it has been raining every single weekend, almost every day. We've had a few breaks of sun. Today is no exception. It's a rainy day, but you know what? I need a little color in my life. We have a very short flowery growing season here in New York. We get a lot of snow and a lot of ice. And so when we have our annual flower time, I just want to soak it all in. Not just because they're beautiful, but also because it's usually inspiration for my artwork. I love that my planters can inspire a new color palette for a project. I love that there are different textures in the leaves and the petals and the veining throughout all of the anatomy of the plants. It brings me so much joy. It helps my artwork. So today, friends, we are going to do some planting. I'm not going to go crazy. It's rainy, it's cold, it's dreary out, but you know what? We're brightening it up. My goal is one planter. I've been working so hard this week. I don't have a ton of time. I am designing new wallpaper designs this week, and my deadline is Monday, but you know what? We got to get some fresh air. We got to get out of the studio, and we need a little bit of something bright and cheerful to celebrate that we're almost done with those wallpaper designs, but also to celebrate the coming of summer. So let's head on out to the garden center. I'm going to share some tips with you along the way. Let's head on out to the garden center. I stopped by North Star Orchards, one of my go-to local greenhouses here in upstate New York. They're family owned and grow a ton of their own plants. It's the kind of place where you walk in, you breathe just a little bit deeper and instantly feel inspired. They had sun plants, they had shade areas, they had veggies, all in their own sections of the greenhouse. And of course, I still had to check the care tags. I always recommend giving those a peek when you're choosing your plants. They'll tell you what kind of light and water needs each one of your plants has. Something to keep in mind while you're shopping, flowers come in different pot sizes. The smaller pots are more budget friendly, but they'll take a few weeks to really fill in. Larger pots cost a bit more, but they'll give you that instant wow factor and make your planter look lush with way less effort. I had to grab a big pot of Dahlias and a big pot of Zinnias. I mean, come on, look at these beauties. So much color and texture in one pot. Yep, these are coming home with me. I'm also definitely coming back for perennials on another day when the sun's out. I've got my eye on a redbud tree to replace one of the trees that we lost last summer during the tornado. It's native and beautiful, and I just really want a redbud tree for my backyard. They have them in different varieties. So the leaves aren't just like the standard green. They have some that have like red tipped and like mauve-y. We're coming back. So before I headed out on this trip, I sent a message to North Star and I asked if they had any peony bouquets available. Luckily, Jonathan or the crew over at North Star had a few ready. The peony blooms are just getting started this time of year here in New York, so you know I had to bring a bunch home back to the studio. How pretty are these? Because we were planning on going to the Peony gardens today, but it's raining, and so we don't want to go to the Peony gardens. But I was wondering if they had bouquets that we could take home, and they do. They actually got them out for us. So I made sure to thank them. You gotta love these like small family-owned local places. They go above and beyond for their people. 10 out of 10. Don't worry, we're gonna be back here to get some perennials, but today we're just gonna start with our flower planters. We've got all season long, so let's head on home. We're gonna get these peonies in water, and yeah, let's go get planting. Here's a little tip for peonies, or really any cut flowers. When you get home, cut the stems underwater. I don't care what angle you cut the stems at. Seriously, don't stress it. But cutting them underwater helps prevent air bubbles from entering the stem. Instead, it'll take up water, which keeps them better hydrated and helps them last even longer. Even though the weather was pretty icky and very rainy, I couldn't resist getting these planters started. I originally told myself that I was only going to do one planter today, but greenhouse flowers just got the best of me. What can I say? I love plants, and it's hard for me to limit myself when I'm in a greenhouse. I can't be the only one, right? To get started, I just cleaned out the containers. I took out any little weeds that had started growing beginning of the season, and I loosened up the soil to make sure that there was plenty of room for new roots to grow. And of course, I kind of arranged my plants to see how I want them to fill in using that good old thriller, filler, spiller planting method. If you're not familiar with that method, I have a little Skillshare class where I talk about how you can get your planters to look all kinds of beautiful using this method and how to care for your plants throughout the season. I'll be sure to link it in the description below if you want to check it out. Everything got a good deep watering with all this rain we've been having, and in fact, the soil started out damp, which honestly is the way I like to plant. I'm gonna add a little bit of fertilizer, likely a bloom booster or something similar, in the next couple of days to just really give them a good head start as they start growing and filling into their new space. But don't worry, I'll be sure to get updated pictures as the season goes on. Honestly, just being outside with my hands in the soil, this just like resets my whole creative brain. I get so much inspiration from the garden, even in the rain. The colors, the textures, the way things grow, it just puts me in my happy place. If you're new to container gardening or want more tips on designing beautiful combinations that thrive all summer, I've got a full Skillshare class that deep dives into how you can create beautiful container gardens to inspire your artwork. You can watch it with the link in the description. I've got a 30-day free trial so you can try out not just my class, but all of the classes on Skillshare. This class is full of practical info, but it keeps things easy to digest so that you can have a more successful planting experience in your garden this summer. I even include little planting diagrams so that you can have a clear guide for how to start your planters if you're just getting started.
Okay, we planted all our flowers. I generally have a plan when I'm planting, but at some point you have extra 6-pack cells and you just stick them in pots. They're going to be fine. These planters are a little bit muddier. The porch is a little muddier than I would normally like to leave it as for me showing you, but that's life. It's raining. It's just going to keep getting muddier. So on a drier day, I'll probably sweep it up or, wipe things down. But for now, a little dirt's not going to hurt the plants. It's not going to hurt the outside. It's going to be fine. So I'll show you these planters. Keep in mind, they were just planted. So I'll probably give you an update in a couple of weeks. They probably need a little bit of fertilizer. They came from a good garden center. So I know that they've likely been fertilizing, but I'm probably going to get either a bloom booster or a slow release fertilizer. At some point, Garden Dad and I might have a chat about fertilizers because there's different techniques that you can use, different strategies. None of them are necessarily wrong. It's just different strategies. So we'll talk about that in a future session. But yeah, let me show you our plants.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this gave you a little planting inspiration to kick off your season. Let me know in the comments below what you're planting this year, and I'll see you back here next time. And don't worry, Garden Dad will be back soon. Until next time, friends.